We'll start talking about a little bit of this Pesach. So I'm going to share with you first a small Dvar Torah, and then a little bit of the halachas. Everyone's preparing for Pesach, Baruch Hashem. Everyone's busy. And there's a vart I saw many years ago. I think it's a beautiful vart before Pesach. And it goes like this. It says that in the Haggadah, we say there's four Ababonim, the four sons. What are they? Chacham, Rasha, Tam, and She'enei Yedei Elisha. Chacham is a smart person, a Rasha is a Rasha, a Tam, someone who doesn't ask the right questions. The She'enei Yedei Elisha doesn't even know how to ask any questions. Now the obvious question is, if you look at the levels, they're basically talking about levels of knowledge. Chacham, a very smart person, a Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha. These are levels of how much they know and how smart they are. Rasha, how does Rasha come in? Rasha is not describing his intellect. Rasha is describing his midos. The opposite of a Rasha is a tzaddik. The opposite of Rasha is not a Chacham. You can have a Chacham with a Rasha also. So why does it say Chacham, Rasha, Tam, and She'enei Yedei Elisha? How does the Rasha fall in, which is midos? It's not intellect.
Misinterprets the Torah.
So I once saw a vart that with an example, and the example is a person who's an architect, who's building a building. So he hires tradesmen to come to the building to do their jobs. So he has the architect of the building, he has the drawings, the blueprint, and then he asks people to come in and do their jobs. So you have different types of tradesmen that come in to do their job. You have one tradesman who comes in and the contractor says, I want you to put the beam here and the wall here, and he asks him why, and he explains to him, and he understands this beam, you can't move it, because if you move this beam, the whole building's going to fall down. Oh, very good, he understands. You have a Tom who comes in and he says, he told me to put the beam here, okay, I put it there. He asks why, he says, because this beam is holding up, he doesn't understand what he's talking about, but he does it anyway. Then you have She'enei Yedei Elisha. You have a person who comes in, a tradesman, who asks no questions. Whatever the boss tells him to do, he does. I don't ask any question, I don't understand it. The beam goes here, the beam goes there. Then you have somebody who comes in and he argues with the contractor and says, this beam is here, it doesn't belong here. I think you should move it over that way. Move it over a little bit, then move this up. So the contractor, all three of the original tradesmen, the Chacham, the Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha, he's happy with every single one of them. As long as they're doing their job, how much they understand, okay, one understands more, one understands less, as long as they're following the instructions. The one he doesn't like is the guy who thinks he knows better. The guy who thinks he knows better, he's nervous, that guy may move over the beam, and it's a support beam, and the whole building's going to come down. That person he doesn't like. Says, I forgot who I saw this verse from. It says, if you were going to say Tzaddik Rasha, Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha, you may think that the Tam and the She'enei Yedei Elisha aren't Tzaddikim. They may not be, they're not Tzaddikim. Tzaddik Rasha, Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha. We said B'dafka Chacham, Rasha, Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha. We didn't use the word Tzaddik as a contrast to Rasha. Why? Because everyone besides the Rasha, they could all be Tzaddikim. Some understand more, some understand less. But they all have the common denominator. They all want to do what the contractor wants them to do. They all want to do what Hashem wants them to do. The Rasha is the one who thinks he's smarter. That's why the Rasha stands out. He can be smart, it doesn't make a difference what he is. He's the one who thinks he knows better. That's why we don't say Tzaddik Rasha and Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha. We say Chacham, Rasha, Tam, She'enei Yedei Elisha, because everybody else besides the Rasha could all be tzaddikim. And the reason why I like this verse is because before Pesach, everyone's busy with something. Everyone's taking care of things, and everyone has their own things that they're busy with. And some people understand more what they're doing, some people understand less what they're doing. Some people understand all the halachas of Pesach, and some people don't understand all the halachas of Pesach. But one common denominator is with everybody that we want to know, we want to understand, and we want to follow the right way. That's what everyone should know before we prepare for Pesach. that as long as we're doing it for the right reason and we understand that we have to follow what we're told, as much as you understand, and whatever is too deep to understand, it's also okay. That's our Gdama for Hilchos Pesach.
Oh yeah.
But, so I'm going to say that Taza came across this week. I can first talk about the Bedika. So we know it's Bedika's Chametz. This year it comes out Sunday night. We do Bedika's Chametz. It's called Leil Bedika's Chametz. The night that we do Bedika's Chametz. The night of Bedika's Chametz, Sunday night, we make a bracha before we start being Beidik the Chametz. Now, the Torah has a question. Why don't we make a Shechiyanu when we do B'dikas Chametz? You know, every mitzvah we do, we eat matzah, Shechiyanu, right? We say Kiddush, Shechiyanu. We always make, on all the mitzvahs, say Shechiyanu. It could be the Shechiyanu that we say by Kiddush goes for everything for that night. But every mitzvah that we do from time to time, we make a Shechiyanu on that mitzvah. B'dikas Chametz is also a mitzvah. Why aren't we making a Shechiyanu on B'dikas Chametz? That's a tourist question. Hatur Kosav, Shem ROSH, ain't Tzarech Levarach Shechiyanu B'Shas B'dikas Chametz. Da B'dika hi l'tzorech haregel, v'samchinan azman the regel. You should really make a bracha, a B'dikas Chametz. You should really make a Shechiyanu. We make the Shechiyanu when we make it on the Yom Tif. That includes the Shechiyanu for the B'dikas Chametz the night before. That's what he says. And the similar thing we have, we'll see soon, is a sukkah. When you build a sukkah, it's a mitzvah to build a sukkah. So why to make a bracha, b'shas ta'asiyah, you could make a Shechiyanu? We don't do it. The Gemara says you could make a Shechiyanu when you're building the sukkah. We don't do it because the Shechiyanu we make on Yom Tif includes the building of the sukkah. But the Mashal at Kashi says, Tema, Ta'isr Chametz koydem l'regel. We know the Isser Chametz starts. When does the Isser Chametz start? Not on Pesach. The Isser Chametz starts already from Chatzos, 6 hours into the day at Pesach. So the Isser of Chametz has nothing to do, this is the way the Mashal says it, with the din of Pesach. You can't say the Shechiyanu of Pesach includes B'dikas Chametz, because the Isser Chametz starts already before Pesach. So the Shechiyanu for the Isser Chametz it should really make already by Chatzos. That's what the Mashal asks. And the Taz says, it's not a kasha, because the whole Isser Chametz that we have from 6 hours and on is only because of Yom Tif. It's only because of Pesach. That means you can't say there's an Isser before Pesach. It's a different Isser Chametz you have Erev Pesach than you have a whole Pesach. No. It's the same Isser. It happens to be, it starts earlier. Huh? It's a Machlok Shoshaim. If you everybody roll by your matzah.
That is one is.
Yeah, one is cars, one is not cars. Yeah. And Nechnami, is different also. And Nechnami. It's also a question for everybody roll by your matzah at that time. But, so the Taz says that even though it's a little different, but it's only a part of the Yom Tif, it's still, we happen to start it earlier, and therefore, there's no, the Shechiyanu on Yom Tif could also go on the Isser Chametz on Chatzos. That's what the Taz says. That's why we don't make a Shechiyanu. The Shechiyanu on Yom Tov goes onto there. But you see from the Taz that the Isser Chametz that we have, Erev Pesach, is just an extension of the regular Isser Chametz we have a whole Yom Tov. Now the reason why I'm bringing this Taz is because there's a whole Shiloh Mechaz Chinuch brings down is that we know that the din you're not allowed to have chametz in your house on Pesach. Right? Everybody knows the din tashbisu. Tashbisu means to get rid of your chametz before Pesach. So the Minchas Chinuch has a very interesting question. Chakira, Shaila. What's the din of tashbisu? Is the din of tashbisu to get rid of your chametz? Or is the din of tashbisu not to have chametz? What's the difference? What's the difference? Not to have chametz means, as long as I have no chametz in my house, I'm mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu. I don't have chametz, I'm doing a mitzvah. To get rid of the chametz would mean I have to have chametz to get rid of. And if you don't have chametz to get rid of, then you're not mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu. And what's a nafkamina? A bunch of nafkaminas. But one big nafkamina is, should a person make sure he has chametz Erev Pesach and then get rid of it in order to do the mitzvah of Tashbisu.
We have the 10 pieces, no?
10 pieces is something else. 10 pieces is the night before because the suffix was bracha maybe. The reason why we put out 10 pieces is because everyone's house, basically, when you come to do B'tikas Chametz at night, if you find a crumb besides the 10 pieces,
You're in big trouble.
you're in big trouble.
Big trouble?
Big trouble.
Big trouble?
Yes. If you find a crumb besides the 10 pieces, your wife will clean the whole
No,
house.
hold on a second. I thought during Pesach, if you find a crumb, that's not the end of the
No,
world.
I don't mean trouble at halacha.
What's the
I mean, it's a curse of from your wife. I don't mean halacha.
Allah, I thought you meant Allah.
No, halacha will get to in a second if you over on the
Real trouble.
You weren't supposed
No.
to find anything.
Yeah, I'm saying, the reason why I put it at the 10 pieces is because at night, by the time you come to B'dikas Chametz at night, you already bought the chametz. You basically checked everything. There's no chametz in your whole house. So therefore, some person want to say that it's a bracha batal to make up B'dikas Chametz because you already bought the chametz. There is no chametz in the house. So we put out 10 pieces that there is chametz there, so you're checking for, at least, you're checking for those 10 pieces. That's why we put out the 10 pieces. Besides that, let's say you have the 10 pieces, right? There's no din tashbisa till your daled, till Erev Pesach. So if you take the 10 pieces, you get rid of them at night. Right? If you hold tashbisa means you have to have chametz and get rid of it, so what you had at night doesn't help you. You have to have chametz the next day and get rid of that chametz. That's why a lot of people are makbir when they say the kol chamira v'chamira at night, they have in mind that those pieces that they have are not included in it. Because if it's included, you have no chametz in your house. That chametz is hefker. You'd have a kaim tashbisu on chametz that's hefker. It's not yours. So those pieces that you have, you keep. You have a mind to keep them. The next day, you'll be mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu by getting rid, by burning that chametz. That's if you hold that tashbisu is a din. You have to have chametz to get rid of it. The other side of the minchas chinuch is that there's no din to have chametz to get rid of it. As long as you don't have chametz, you're ready mekayim the mitzvah of tashbisu. That's what the minchas chinuch has whole fakir. He brings a lot of nafkaminas. A lot of nafkaminas he says is that if I have 10 pieces of chametz that I'm saving to go burn, and someone goes ahead and grabs it away from me and he burns it. So the halacha is, if I have a mitzvah that I'm doing, and someone grabs away the mitzvah from me, so he has to pay me a saras huvim, he has to pay me 10 gold coins, whatever that is, because he grabbed away my mitzvah. So if the din is to burn the chametz that you have, and someone grabbed away my chametz and he burns it, so he grabbed away a mitzvah from me. But the din tashbisu is that not to have chametz, the who cares how I got rid of it. Now I don't have any chametz. It's good to know this chakir of the minchas chinuch because people should know when you burn the chametz in the morning, it's not just a ceremony. It's a mitzvah. According to one time in the minchas chinuch, it's a mitzvah of tashbisu to go ahead and burn the chametz. Not just not to have chametz in your house. Now, the issur of having chametz in the house, so the issur of having chametz in your house is not to have the only over by your raw by your matzah if you have a kazayas chametz in your house. A kazayas, not just a kazayas chametz in your house, a kazayas chametz in one place. The could be spoken this out before. I think it's kazayas chametz over. The only issur of by your raw by your matzah of having chametz in your house Pesach is if you have chametz that's a kazayas, size of let's say an egg.
You haven't sold it.
What?
You haven't sold it.
And you haven't sold it, yeah. You haven't done beer on it. If you have less than a kazayas of chametz in your house, there's no issa by your by your matzah. Now, if you have a bunch of chametz in your house, little pieces all over the place, and they add up to a kazayas, you're also not over by your by your matzah, unless it's in a place where they could end up together. But if it's in places where they can never end up together, you're not over by your by your matzah for less than a kazayas chametz. So when someone's cleaning their house for Pesach, there's no reason to make yourself crazy. We'll get to other halachas in a second. There's no reason to make yourself crazy to get every crumb out. Why not? Because there's no issa bal yirah and bal yamatzah on crumbs. You have a bunch of crumbs in different places in the house. There's no issa bal yirah bal yamatzah. That's good. Makes it easier.
Don't ask questions, Izzy. You got your head.
No, but I'm not,
no.
but I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. So why do we make ourselves crazy and clean for every little crumb? That's for a whole different reason. Not because of the Itzah by Yirah by Yamatzeh. The reason why we make ourselves crazy is because there's a halacha in Hilchos Pesach that if you have you're not allowed to eat any chametz. Eating chametz is also ba'yirah ba'yimatzei is to have in your house chametz. That's only a kazayas. Eating chametz, if you eat less than a kazayas chametz, is awesome. You're not allowed to eat even a drop of chametz on Pesach. You're not allowed to eat any chametz, even a drop. Maybe it's a chasishir, it's a drop, whatever it is, but you're not allowed to eat even a drop of chametz. So, why do we clean the house from everything? We don't want to end up eating even a drop of chametz. So what are you worried about? We're not worried that if you have a crumb in your house, they go pick it up and eat it. We're not so worried about that. So what are you worried about? Is that what?
The mice might collect.
No. There's another halacha. There's another halacha that in all the surim, the halacha is if you have an issur, let's say a piece of chazer falls into your soup,
60.
it's batal b'shishim. Everything is batal b'shishim, 60 times the amount. It's batal, and you're allowed to eat it. Right? If something falls into your soup, treifus, whatever it is, if it's batal b'shishim, you're allowed to eat it. And there's no reason to be machmir not to eat it. There's no reason to be machmir not to eat it, even though you know that issur fell in. As it's all machlokes, we spoke about this once. If you know for sure that a drop of issur fell into your soup, and it's shishim 60, and it's bottle, and now it's mutter, is there any reason to be machmir not to eat it?
You shouldn't have it in your system.
So there's machlokes in the Rishonim, and the Ramah Teres Chata says that if someone says he's not going to eat it, he's bordering on apikursis. This is what the Ramah says, and the reason is because if it's batal b'shishim, it's mutter. You know better than Chazal. You can say it's not batal b'shishim. That's his mahalach. Some Rishonim want to say that no, you could be machmir, but the ma'aser you're not machmir, you can eat it. On Pesach, and Issur Avodah Zarah also, it's on the gay for us now, but in Issur Pesach, a drop of chametz falls into your soup, even a crumb falls into your soup, there could be 1,000 times the amount, it's not batal. It stays also forever, for Pesach at least. Now, what are you doing? You're going to eat the soup, and you're going to eat a piece of chametz. You're not allowed to do that. So if you saw a little crumb falling into your soup, and you know it's chametz, you have to throw out the whole soup.
What's the story? Just a soft topic that's very relevant.
Yeah.
That your chametz gets wet, and you eat it.
What do you mean it's wet?
Like a barber, for instance, they make sure no water goes on there.
Matzah.
I'm not
Matzah.
You mean matzah shuri, rocks.
Is that
Okay, let's leave that for now. After film, I'll get back to it.
okay?
We'll get back to it. Matzah shuri. We'll get to matzah shuri in a second. So, a drop of a chametz, you know it's chametz. A drop of chametz falls in, the whole pot is also. So the reason why we're so makbid to clean out for drops of chametz is because we don't want to end up eating the chametz. So now, you're right, in your bedroom, there's a little piece of crumb there, you're not worried it's going to fall into your food. In your bedroom, make sure there's no kazayas chametz, back, fine. In the kitchen, especially in cabinets that you use for chametz, and it's full of crumbs, yes, you have to make yourself crazy to get every single crumb out.
This is closed.
But let's close it off. Yes, we're not using it for Pesach. But something that you're using for Pesach, counters, cabinets, anything that you use for chametz all year round, you're using that same thing for Pesach. Yes, you have to scrub it to get every single crumb out, because you don't want that crumb to end up in your food. So that's a fine difference. If it's in a place where it's not in contact with food, it's bedrooms, it's a place where you're not eating on Pesach, you have nothing to worry about the food coming in contact with the food, clean it out, make sure there's no kazayas chametz. Save your energy for the places that come in contact with food, for example, the kitchen, the dining room, those things that come in contact with food, yes. People cover the whole table with a paper. Why do they cover the whole table with paper for? Because you never know, there's some crumbs there. You cover it, the crumbs don't end up in your food. That's what we have to be careful for. That's if someone goes to that klal, it's much easier. I'll give an example, svarim, right? People make themselves crazy, they leaf out all the svarim, right? You have an easy way out.
Better not to use it.
Don't use it. Yeah, don't use it on Pesach. I didn't say that.
The rest of the year.
Don't bring it. Well, don't use the whole year. Don't use the whole year. So the machmir, Pesach and the whole year, they don't use it. So what you do is, if you don't make so crazy with the svarim, you just don't bring the svarim to the table. You want to learn, stay in the study and learn there, and make sure the svarim don't come around food. So even if there's a little crumb there, it won't end up in your food. But that's a lot of people are makbid on that Pesach. They don't bring any svarim to the table because of that, because they come in contact with food sometimes. and a little crumb will come out. Baby toys, right? You have kids' toys. If you make sure that the kids' toys don't end up by the table, don't end up in the dining room or kitchen, then you're okay. You don't have to make yourself crazy to clean it. But if it ends up where you're eating, then you have to make sure every single crumb is clean from them.
Is there a problem if you're a baby or plays with their toys and there's a crumb and they put in their mouth and they eat it?
You shouldn't let them, but you have to...
No, but if it's like, if you don't clean all the toys...
No, you don't have to worry about that. If only the kids are going to play with their toys, and maybe a crumb in there, you don't have to make yourself crazy before Pesach to clean it. No. But if the toys end up by the table, then you have to worry about it. And I give another example I always give is the cars. The cars, unfortunately, becomes like a kitchen almost today. Everyone eats there and there's crumbs, right? So what do you do? How do you clean your car for Pesach? If someone,
Give it in to clean.
You give it in to clean. Even giving it to clean, there's still crumbs. There's still crumbs. If someone eats in the car, no matter how much you clean it, how much you vacuum it, there's still little pieces of crumbs all over the place. In those plastic things, it's very hard to clean it well. So what's the answer? Don't eat in your car on Pesach. You want to clean your car, there's no kazayas comments, get rid of the crumbs, but there's nothing you have to be careful. When you go grocery shopping and you put the bags down in your car, you also have to make sure that those bags that are in the car, where there could be little crumbs, don't end up on your kitchen table. Because again, you're transferring the crumbs from the car onto your kitchen table. So a lot of people put a plastic out in the car, and all the Pesach shopping they put on a plastic tablecloth, so you don't have the issue. The main thing
already starts though when you're at the store and it goes in the conveyor belt.
Yes. That's what a lot of stores talk about. A lot of stores, the Jewish stores, before Pesach, they use the same things for Pesach. They cover them. They cover them with papers.
I'm talking about the conveyor, right?
No, even the conveyor things. Yeah. It depends which stores. It depends which stores. A lot of stores they cover. I know bakeries. A lot of bakeries do that. Because bakeries, it's impossible to get rid of all the crumbs. Impossible. So they cover the whole thing. It's impossible. So they cover. No, I'm not talking about the bakeries. I'm talking about when you check out.
So that means they don't use it?
No, what they do is they cover it with paper. So the whole thing. No, so that they don't use the conveyor belt on Pesach.
So
it's covered with paper, and this way you put the kosher Pesach stuff on it. The crumbs, even if there are crumbs under the paper, it doesn't end up on your thing. But you use the same exact conveyor belt for chametz, and I use it for kosher Pesach stuff. The chances you're not going to get crumbs in it are very slim. You're going to get crumbs in it. So the main thing is we have to be careful with the crumbs is that the crumbs don't end up in your food, whatever it takes.
Which store does that cover?
And the Hermes does it. They cover the counters with all the white things. They cover it. Yeah, I know I grew up. Most of the stores came to Pesach. It was before the conveyor belts. Now you have the conveyor belts. It's a problem.
Or don't put your packages that you bought onto your Pesach counter.
Right.
Take the food.
Yeah, but the question, but it's hard a lot of times. It comes in packaging. That's what we have to be careful of. You have to be careful to make sure none of the crumbs end up in the place where you have food, and then you're okay. The rest of the house, then you don't have to make it so crazy to clean it so well. I think it's a good cloud. Now, with your question, I wasn't planning on speaking about this. Your question was with the Matzah Shruya. Matzah Shruya is a whole different thing.
What's the bottom line?
Matzah Shruya is basically what the chash was then was that after they baked the matzah, so it could be there was a little flour that was not fully baked. If you add water to it, it turns into chametz. That's what the whole chumrah came from, a matzah shruya. That's what comes from. The question is the chumrah today's matzah is...
And
what's the halacha with it?
Yeah.
It's being machlokes. I'll read your lashon on the Sha'ar Tshuva.
We want to know who says it's okay.
Most people hold it's okay.
Yeah.
Most people hold matzah shruya is okay. It depends what you mean it is.
Garbage afterwards, it's okay also, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what he says over here. The Sha'ar Tshuva brings down.
Good stuff.
The Sha'ar Tshuva brings down the whole thing. There's it's like this over here. It's like this. The Ma'at Chasivna, he brings down some people that are machmir, not to eat matzah shruya. Some people are mekel. So some people that don't eat matzah all Pesach, only Leil Rishon when it's a mitzvah, because they were scared and maybe the matzah became chametz. right? Became chametz. So they were makbid not to eat matzah a whole Yom Tov. Only the first night when there's a chiyuv to. The rest of the Yom Tov there's no chiyuv to matzah. They stay away from
Well,
it.
Yom Tov you have to eat.
No, they didn't eat. Even Yom Tov they didn't eat.
Because, you have to eat
Yeah, they didn't. The Chayes said that the chash of it is the rights of chametz. They stayed away from it.
That's right.
So the Shari Tshuva says.
Whatever the months are.
Okay, I read the Lashon Shari Tshuva. It's good to know. Umadach Siv the Mevoyer, the Bein HaMachmirin, the Bein HaMakilim, side the ones that are Machmer, side the ones that are Mekel, Eilu ve'Eilu Oisim Kavonim L'Shamayim. They're all doing it, they have the same reason doing it. Kavana, their intention is L'Shamayim. Eladaitam Lifroish, Mishayimtza, Chimtza, or Bar Chimtza, B'chtei Lizar, Bechametz, Kolshu, B'chol Chamed Efshin. They're worried about any Chashash L'Chashash, of maybe there's a Chametz, so they're very careful. Ve'elu, Mishum, Miniyas Simchis Yom Tiv, Shle'arav Lehem Lecha Matzah Chareva, the ones who are Mekel on Gebracht, why are they Mekel? Because they've only Yom Tiv. What do you eat a whole Yom Tiv? You're not going to have Knedlach on Yom Tiv. Well, what's going to be, right? You have to have something to eat on Yom Tiv. So they were Mekel, they had no problems with it, and they said the opposite. They held, you're not allowed to be Matzah Sharuya, because you're taking away from only Yom Tiv. That's what they held. You're taking away only Yom Tiv.
Potatoes are potatoes.
Yeah, they don't have a potato knife.
Yeah. But frat misha kosher lehal isa, and frat for those people who it's hard for them to chew. So for sure they have to make the matzah softer. How are they going to eat the matzah? So it says the machlokes here. Some people say to be very, very machmer and stay away from any matzah shruya, any gebracht. Why? Because the chash chametz. Some people say the opposite. No, you can't do that because you're ruining the only Yom Tov. So what's better? It says v'yesh machmirin b'yoyser she'ein oichlin matzah klau achalai l'rishon. They don't eat any matzah after the first night Pesach. They eat no matzah. Rak oichlin v'madanim. They eat minei tavshilim. They eat types of cooked stuff. V'harbe nimdim lasses came to Simchas Yom Tov again. Because how can you not eat matzah? You can't get full. Why? Kipita sa'ada deliba. Bread is what fills you up. Val elu shelibam l'shamayim. On both of them that are doing it l'shem shamayim. Kaira ani va'amech kulam tzadikim. That's how Shari Tshuva. Shari Tshuva. The Shari Tshuva and Siman Tov. At the end of Siman Tov Samach is a long Shari Tshuva. He goes on about Matzah Shruya. It's good to see if you have a chance. What? Yeah. So the you have to follow your father's minhag. If it's a minhag not to eat gebrachs, you have to follow it. You want to be Matzah Neder. It's a whole shayla how you could do it. The you have to follow the minhag of your parents of what they did. Otherwise, it's to break a minhag is a chametz thing. So, but he says whatever your minhag is, whether your minhag is bedafka to eat gebrachs, but the minhag is bedafka not to eat gebrachs, elu v'el divrei l'kem chayim v'amech kulam tzadikim. I'll tell you a story that happened with my grandfather. My grandfather was an altar part of the Shiyid, and he never heard of gebrachs. He grew up in Poland. He never knew of gebrachs. By him was chametz. So he built the old Chaim Berlin Yeshiva in Brooklyn, and Rav Hutner invited him for Kiddush the first day Pesach for a Karsa Toif. So my father went home, and my grandfather went to Rav Hutner for Kiddush. Within a few minutes, that my father came home. My grandfather came running into the house. He was white like a ghost.
You said what?
He was white like a ghost. And my father asked him what happened. He says, "You'll never believe it. There's a yeshiva. I asked Chametz in Pesach." What happened? He took Knedlach. He comes into his house for Kiddush, and the phone had Knedlach by the table. He saw Knedlach. He walked out. He turned around and he walked in. It wasn't a shayla. Now it's Chametz. And that was it. I want to say one more loch here, which I think is Negaya, not well known, is that there's a whole siman of Shulchan Aruch. One siman set aside for this.
I'm going to have that.
Can't find it now. The whole siman here that says, here it is, Tov Samach Tes. Siman Tov Samach Tes. There's a halacha here which is not well known. I'm not sure why, but it says that someone's not also loimer, you're not allowed to say on any Ashum Behema, Ben Chaya, Ben Shchuta, on any piece of meat that you have, Basa Zula Pesach. You're not allowed to say, this meat is for Pesach. You're not allowed to say that. And the reason is because it sounds like you're saying it's for the Korbon Pesach. And once you made it for a Korbon Pesach, you're not allowed to Hekdesh, looks like Hekdesh. So halacha is, you're not allowed to say, Basa Zula Pesach L'Shanira, Shegetisha Mechaim L'Korbon Pesach. It looks like you set it aside for the Korbon Pesach. Therefore, you should say, Yemer Basa Zeh L'Yom Tov. This meat is for Yom Tov. Don't say this meat is for Pesach. This meat is for Yom Tov. The Mishnah Berurah brings down over here, there's lav dafka meat, it's chicken. Don't say, I'm buying this for Pesach. I'm buying this le-Pesach for Pesach. Because it looks like you're being magdish it for the Korbon Pesach. So the Maisa, I'm not saying there aren't makirim, there are some people that are makel about it.
Because everybody says it.
Yeah. Everyone says
It says right on the package, kosher
says.
le-Pesach.
yeah, no, kosher le-Pesach is something else. But I'm buying this le-Pesach, basa zel le-Pesach, this meat is for Pesach. The halacha says you should be careful how to say it. And it's a first halacha, no one argues in halacha. For some reason it's not so known in the halacha, especially in meat. Other things is a question. Because other things it could be, since it can't be for a Korbon Pesach, so there's nothing wrong with saying it. Because it in itself can't be a Korbon Pesach. But on meat for sure, if you're not going to mark on everything, at least on meat, you shouldn't say, Basa Zu, the Pesach, this meat is for Pesach. Just say, I'm buying this for Yom Tov. Not so hard, if you get used to it. It's not so hard. Simchas Yom Tov. As long as you don't say the words, Basa Zel le Pesach. For Pesach. Even in English. Basa Zu le Pesach.
Why, if he's like he said, why are we chayshish that that's for the Korbon Chagiga or Shalom Yisumcha, and he says it's for Yom Tov.
Le Pesach.
He says this meat is for Yom Tov.
Yeah, no, don't say le Pesach. Pesach means Korbon Pesach.
What the other Korbanos that you
No, but it's Yom Tov. Yom Tov means the day of Yom Tov. Pesach means Korbon Pesach also. Yom Tov doesn't mean Chagiga. The word Yom Tov doesn't mean Chagiga. The word Pesach means a Korbon Pesach, all the Yom Tov of Pesach. If you said the Chagiga, we're the same thing maybe. But the Pesach is a problem. You shouldn't say it. I think that people should know. It's fine, okay.